Sir from 17 once again, bringing you the start of Chapter 6 in my Castlevania 9 difficulty video walkthrough. And this level is called Castle Courtyard. And we're gradually making our way into the castle and into the domain of the vampires, so that's what we're going to be fighting from now on. And it's an interesting level. This is slightly longer than the ones we've just been doing, but it's still nothing too crazy. It involves a smidgen more climbing, some more combat, and running around familiar areas, because you're going to be seeing this, well, the courtyard itself a couple times, because when you first come here you can't do much. You go, get a few items, and you come back, and then you finally can. So as soon as you come in here, two of the giant armor guys will attack you. If you see them do the ground attack, make sure you jump. When there's two of them, just keep as much distance as you can away from one of them. Focus on whichever one you want to kill first. Always watch out what they're doing. If you see anything like that, make sure you jump and just fight them the way you've been fighting them since, you know, you started. They're not too bad, but it's one of those awareness things where if you're not that good at watching multiple enemies doing different things, you're probably going to get caught out. So just be careful and try your best. But I'm not going to talk too much about this because this shit is simple. What I am going to talk about is watching older films and spotting actors who have now rose to some kind of fame. And how weird it is, because I got the television on behind me. I was just watching the Futurama Beast with a Billion Backs thing, which I can't even remember watching the full thing, but I watched it again, and Futurama's great, man. It makes me laugh a lot, and I totally prefer it over The Simpsons. It's just one of those things. Everybody has a preference, and as far as my preference is, it's like I've always been a Futurama guy as opposed to a Simpsons guy, and I've always been an American Dad guy as opposed to a Family Guy guy. Even though I did like Family Guy when it first came out, I just kind of grew away from it. But after that went off, Armageddon came on, and Armageddon is one of those films where it's ridiculous, it's dumb, it shouldn't work, it's preposterous, it's Michael Bay all the way, and I still enjoy it for some reason. But I knew there was a ragtag bunch of guys in it, because there's Ben Affleck on the drilling team, there's the big black guy from the Green Mile on the drilling team, and all those other people. There's Owen Wilson as well, and I didn't even fucking realise Owen Wilson was part of the team, because at 1998, which is the year Armageddon came out, nobody even knew who the fuck Owen Wilson was, unless you were a Dynamite, film fan or something crazy like that. So nowadays that he's been, in all the romantic comedies and got typecast into this role of this blundering fool who's, hyper sexual and whatever you want to describe the bent-nosed motherfucker as. It's just weird seeing him in this obscure role, and it makes me think of other films that have got stuff like that. And this is an obvious inevitability when it comes to being an actor, because you've got to make films, you've got to build your portfolio to get into the better films. And if you think back to The Lost World, which was Jurassic Park 2, you watch that back, if you look hard enough, you will see that the cameraman to one of the crews is Vince Vaughn, and obviously he's become just like Owen Wilson in essence, because they're very similar actor types and they do the same films. But it's just rife everywhere, and you don't realise. Like when I watched Gone in 60 Seconds, I'd not seen it for years, and it had people like Timothy Olyphant and fucking just tons of dudes in that film that you just don't realise. And it makes me wonder how expensive it is to get such a strong cast, because you'll generally notice, as a rule of thumb, the better the cast, the worse the film, because it's like they've got all those egos and all those awesome actors, and they can never really piece it together into something cohesive. It always ends up being kind of garbage. I mean, just look at the collaborations between Al Pacino and Robert De Niro. There is one exclusion to that rule, and that is Heat. The other maybe Godfather Part 2 if you're a Godfather fan, but the more recent one that they did was the Reckless Kill or something like that, where they played police officers, and everybody shit on that film, critics shit on that film. I enjoyed it, I didn't think there was anything wrong with it, but it's just one of those things where when you get these people together, you think it's going to be epic, and sometimes it isn't, because we live in our minds. We get these preconceived notions that something's going to be so much better if it's this way, and it doesn't necessarily work that way. Unless you're talking 12 Angry Men, and then that's a completely different thing altogether. But this fight here isn't challenging, but it's made more challenging because the camera's bad. I forgot that fucking guy's name, the Wurg or whatever it is a nuisance, and obviously the skeletons, which are a pain in the ass, but don't focus on the skeletons because they come back. The best thing to do is just get this beast, and then you can kill the skeletons with him. So focus on the big warg or whatever it's called, I'm not quite remember. Then you can climb up the wall, and when you climb up the wall, there's a couple of collectibles and there is a crystal to get, so there's an encounter coming up when you jump down to where you need to go. Use your crystal to kill the kill the skeletons. For some reason, every time I see the I nearly did it again. Every time I think of the skeletons, I want to say scorpions. I don't know why. It's kind of like fucking, I've got some kind of neurological disorder that's messing with my language skills, but just ignore that. If I've said scorpions in past videos, I totally meant skeletons. I'm just, you know, a retard. But when you walk across here, this is the area where you can get a life refill. You can also get a crystal at the bottom of this area, so bear that in mind. Excuse me, just did a lovely yawn. Been pulling some crazy all-nighters thanks to zombies and Brink and various other games, so kind of tired at this moment in time, and I've only had one coffee, and I'm a coffee fiend, so I need me some fucking caffeine, which I'm probably going to get after this commentary. But anyhow, walk back across here, and straight in front of me there to the right is an area where you drop down. That is where you're supposed to go. And when you fall all the way down and go through the grating into like another sewer system, scorpions are going to pop up. That is where I say use your ability, use your crystal, and summon the fucking blind, ridiculously winged, clawed, crazy thing. Lady Odin. So, ooh, I'm using holy water, that's strange. I think I click on that there was that crystal and then I run away and use it, I'm not sure. Here I go, what am I doing? So, you can try and fight these legitimately. I wouldn't, because there's 3 of them, the arena is tiny, and the skeletons are assholes. So there you go, crystal used. You can skip the crystal cutscene. There you go. Excuse me once again, yawned again. They're coming out of nowhere, these motherfuckers. But there's all the enemies dead, so jump all the way back to the opposite side of the ledge, and you can go and replenish your crystal, and then you can come all the way back down and end the first section of chapter 6. It does take a while to make your way back up there, but it's very doable. It's not one of those games where when you drop down to a certain area it just completely fences you off and stops you from backtracking, which is something I hate about modern games. They are so eager to pigeonhole you down a specific path and make sure that there's no possible way to get back. It's so frustrating. I played a really shit game called Conflict Denied Ops many years ago, and there was an achievement on that game where you had to kill so many enemies with one of the characters, or do something to enemies a certain amount of times, and it was one of those games where I wanted to go back and get something, and when I tried to do it there was some handy rubble blocking the way I'd just come out of, because as soon as I hit the checkpoint it had loaded in this object to stop me from backtracking, and it fucked that achievement run, so I had to do it again. And anybody that's, you know, ever really sought after achievements, ever really been an achievement hunter or an achievement whore, depending on your parlance, will know that it's a fucking awful feeling. It's one of those things where it wastes time, it wastes everything, it's just not cool. But run over here, use this crank, wheel, portcullis control, I don't know what it is. This sundial, half a circle mechanism of sorts to open the grate. And then all you have to do is run around this rotating staircase, this helicopter, I don't know, it could be spiral, no idea. This crazy staircase. And that's the end of the level, so thanks for watching guys, and you take care now.